Greetings, greetings, greetings. It's Loso, in case you didn't know so, aka the spiritual healer. Got a nice little download today, so I was excited. I've been excited for the last few days. Friday, the 8-8 portal brought a lot of knowledge and stuff to me, but today it just kept building upon it. First off, you are in charge of how you think and feel. Choose how you want to think and feel. So I did some paperwork to put myself in a place to where I'm gonna be able to leave something for my kids, land, property, and they're not gonna have to worry about property taxes and all the other stuff, probate court and things, and just getting a knowledge of how the system we live in really works. Not how they tell us it works, but how it really works. So I was kind of excited, like thinking I'm leaving my kids a legacy, and then it dawned on me every person on the planet is already a legacy. Your DNA, your family, all that stuff is already a legacy. It's just that what you don't know, you can't celebrate. What you don't have a sense of pride about, you can't be proud for. What you don't know. And the lack of knowledge is merely just the lack of knowledge of who you want to be, claiming who you want to be. You know what I mean? And everything is a claim. Everything in this world is claim. If you claim it, it's yours. And that's the funny part, because it's something as simple as that. And I say that because I was creating some paperwork, set up a few trusts and things for my kids and my family. So that way my kids will always have something, putting money aside for them, putting property aside for them, something that they can sell in the future when I'm no longer here. And I was kind of thinking like, hey, I created a legacy. But then I realized I've already been a legacy. I got my mom's house was passed down to me. That's already legacy. I got other family members that have stuff. And because I've never claimed their stuff, their property, their name, their rightful place, because I never claimed it, I never stepped up as the direct descendant, the heir to all these things, they're out floating in the ether somewhere. And the crazy part about it is just knowing that the knowledge of knowing something's out there is what puts you in place. And the Bible says it best: my people perish from a lack of knowledge. Just and it's not even something the Bible, it's not even a religious thing. It's a true statement. The Bible is a book of references that really tell you how this planet operates. And if you really, really, really start looking into the Bible, it'll teach you about our legal system. Way more than just talking to a lawyer or an attorney. You know what I'm saying? The Bible gives you the foundation of how this country was set up, how those people thought when they created this country. And if you don't read their instruction manual, you won't get it. Or if you read it with the false eyes of thinking they're telling you this is a tool for worship, you won't get it. And that in itself is why most people can't get a legacy. Their knowledge won't allow them to be the legacy they already are. They think they have to do things and obtain things. I was under that impression that I had to do things. I had to have special paperwork. I had to know special people. I had to do DNA research and all this other extra stuff that in certain realms, certain certain situations, it may be beneficial, but it's not needed. Your claim is enough. Your claim is enough. And some people might miss what I'm saying. It might be over their head, but nevertheless, if you're hearing this message, it's meant for you. That seed has been planted. If you just look up the simple ideology of claiming, it will break things down for you in such a way, to the point where I've even created me a book. I'm working on my book. You know what I'm saying? It's a leather bound book. I can't really show it. There it go. You know what I'm saying? It's a book I'm creating. It's pretty thick, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to have all the things that I go through, as well as I have a page for a covenant. You feel me? I created my own covenant. I created a covenant for me and my kids. I created an emblem for my family's crest. I created a lot of things that are symbolic, but it also shows claim. Shows that I have put a direct claim on that, more than just my name. the family of, and you do it in the right right venues, then you actually regain the power that most of us relinquish when we sign up for certain activities. I'm not gonna get too deep into it because this right here, again, is low. So in case you didn't know, so it's more of a spiritual finding yourself type dialogue, not so much as how to move, but if you find the spirituality within the Bible, not the religion, but the spirituality, the message that talks to the spirit, not the message that talks to the man or the woman, that tells you to go through certain processes because that's what you think is right. When you talk about it and you read it and you find there's a there's a certain sense of knowledge you get, some people call it faith, and that may be true. It strengthens your faith if you have the correct understanding. People's interpretation of the Bible, interpretation of Jesus, interpretation of Satan and Lucifer, because of their interpretation of these, I'm gonna say, entities, they move differently. Not realizing some trains of thought is that every person in the Bible is some type of stage in life. It's some type of event. So the name is what confuses people, but the actual activity is letting you know that everybody's soul per se goes through something similar to that. I actually created a book myself, referencing the relationship between Jesus, Lucifer, Satan, God, and my own interpretation of it. And one thing they always tell you, that when you read the Bible or other religious texts, is to get your own interpretation. That's how you get the spiritual aspect of it, is when you read it for yourself and interpret it for how it applies to you. And that's big for all people, mainly my people, because we have had, in theory, a rough go at it. When you look at history as a whole, we actually haven't. We're in a time now where it's easier to tell you something than to show you. A lot of the stuff that they fabricate and talk about is stuff that it has some validity to it, but it's perspective wise. One of the great examples is, I think KRS-One gave it, because of how they talk about slavery and past discretions against people of melanin. We think that we were oppressed. We think that we were not the pinnacle of civilization. We don't see ourselves in the highest light because they've been able to dictate the narrative. And because they have, we don't do the research. KRS gave a great example, saying in 100 years from now, when most of us are not going to be here, we're going to see the story about some of the people that, Trayvon Martin, people that perished in the last decade or so from racist people and things of that nature. Even Emmett Till, we see these things, and because of what we think on a grander scale, like, oh, it should be rioting or it should be this or this, that, and the third. And because those things never happened, we believe that the past was really messed up. Like they was just lynching people. So in 100 years from now, when they see the Trayvon Martin, the young man that was shot, I can't remember the other young lady who was killed. But if they look at those isolated incidents, they're going to think black people 100 years during our time was oppressed. They're going to think that we had no rights, because the narrative is going to be told on one situation and how that one situation panned out. And that's the crazy part about it. When you look at history and you look at your life, you can see something that happens on a Saturday night, and if you look at that same Saturday night over and over again, you might have a picture of your life like, dang. But if you look at your life as a whole, you had many Saturday nights that wasn't bad or wasn't good. Like they take snippets and embellish and make them grow, which comes back full circle, is affecting a lot of my people's legacies and their mind state, because your legacy is how you see yourself and how you're going to see yourself once you're gone, and how people are going to view you. I mean, truth be told, the deeper you get, you really don't care how nobody sees you except for the ones who matter to you. But sometimes, you know, we get caught in the jello. We get caught up in the rigmarole about how we think other people's feelings matter and this, that, and the third. So ultimately, just this message is just, do some research on yourself, shadow work even. Find out who it is you are or want to be, and let that be your truth. Let that be your truth. And understanding that is when your legacy starts. And it only ends if you decided to end, you know? Because when you're gone, you can't really dictate what's going on, some people. It is what it is. But ultimately, man, all my messages are teaching people to find out who they want to be and embrace it. And if you change your mind, that's okay too. It's okay. It's definitely okay, because the reality of it is none of us really know. Everything's a freestyle session. Everything is kind of, it is what it is every day. Every day you got to find a new way to make it happen. And each situation and event is another chance for you to either make something new, refine something old. I mean, whatever it is, just make sure you put your heart and all into it. But I'm about to go see my baby boy now, get to hold him again today. He's doing a lot better. So, thank you for all the blessings and help that everyone's provided. Again, this is Loso, in case you didn't know, so AKA the spiritual healer. And I'm out of here.